In this video, we're going to look at critical writing, specifically the difference between descriptive writing and critical writing. A lack of critical writing is one of the most common issues we encounter when we review dissertations and theses and research papers here at Grad Coach. So today, we'll unpack the thorny issue of critical writing to help you ace your project. If you're new to the oftentimes intimidating world of academic research and writing, be sure to hit that subscribe button for loads of plain language, actionable advice. Also, if you're currently working on a dissertation or thesis, be sure to grab our free dissertation templates, which guide you through each chapter step by step. You can find the links to those in the description below. All right, so let's jump into it. Writing critically is one of the most important skills you'll need to master for your academic journey. But what exactly does this mean? Well, when it comes to writing, at least for academic purposes, there are two main types: descriptive writing and critical writing. Critical writing is also sometimes referred to as analytical writing, so we'll use these two terms interchangeably. Now, to understand what constitutes critical or analytical writing, it's useful to compare it against its opposite, descriptive writing. So let's have a little showdown. Descriptive versus critical. At the most basic level, descriptive writing merely communicates the what, where, when, or who. In other words, it describes a thing, place, time, or person. It doesn't consider anything beyond that or explore the impact, importance, or meaning of the situation. Here's an example of a descriptive sentence. Yesterday, the president unexpectedly fired the Minister of Finance. As you can see, this sentence just states what happened, when it happened, and who was involved. Classic descriptive writing. Contrasted to this, critical writing takes things a step further and unveils the so what. Basically, it explains the impact or consequence of a given situation. Let's stick with the same event and look at an example of analytical writing. The president's unexpected firing of the well-respected finance minister had an immediate negative impact on investor confidence. This led to a sharp decrease in the value of the local currency, especially against the US dollar. This devaluation means that all dollar-based imports are now expected to rise in cost, thereby raising the cost of living for citizens and reducing disposable income. As you can see in this example, the descriptive version only tells us what happened. The president fired the finance minister, whereas the critical version goes on to discuss some of the impacts of the president's actions. Ideally, critical writing should always link back to the broader objectives of the paper or project, explaining what each thing or event means in relation to those objectives. In a dissertation or thesis, this would involve linking the discussion back to the research aims, objectives, and research questions. Sounds a bit fluffy and conceptual? Well, let's take a look at an example. If your research aims involved understanding how the local environment impacts demand for specialty imported vegetables, you would need to explain how the devaluation of the local currency means that the imported vegetables would become more expensive relative to locally farmed options. This in turn would likely have a negative impact on sales, as consumers would turn to cheaper local alternatives. So as you can see, critical or analytical writing goes beyond just describing. That's what descriptive writing covers, and instead focuses on the meaning of things, events, and situations. Within a research context, a dissertation or a thesis, critical writing links these things to the research aims, objectives, and research questions. The golden thread. If this sounds a bit foreign, you can learn more about the golden thread and how that all fits together in this video. All right, so as I've mentioned, descriptive writing focuses on the what, while critical writing focuses on the so what, the meaning. To make this distinction a little more tangible, let's look at how this plays out in a typical dissertation or research project. Within a literature review, descriptive writing would explain what a theory, author, or journal article said, whereas critical writing would explain how that's relevant to the key issues and research questions. Similarly, within a methodology chapter, descriptive writing would state which methods were used, whereas analytical writing would explain why these methods were relevant and justified in light of the specific research aims. Lastly, within a discussion chapter, descriptive writing would merely state a relationship between two variables, whereas critical writing would explain what this relationship means in terms of the research questions, how it compares to existing research, and if it contrasts with the literature, why this might be. So as you can see, critical writing goes deeper, scratching below the surface to extract the meaning and impact of things. So does this mean you should avoid descriptive writing altogether? Not quite. For the most part, you'll need some descriptive writing to lay the foundation for the critical analytical writing. You'll usually need to state the what before you can discuss the so what. Therefore, description is simply unavoidable and, in fact, quite essential. But you do want to keep it to a minimum and focus your word count on the analytical side of things. As you write, a good rule of thumb is to identify every what, in other words, every descriptive point you make, and then check whether it is accompanied by a so what, in other words, a critical conclusion regarding its meaning or impact. Of course, this won't always be necessary, as some conclusions are fairly obvious and go without saying. But this basic practice should help you minimize description, maximize analysis, and most importantly, earn you marks. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and leave a comment. For more videos like this, check out the Grad Coach channel and subscribe for plain language, actionable research tips and advice. Also, if you're looking for one-on-one support with your research project, be sure to check out our private coaching service, where we hold your hand throughout the research process, step by step. You can learn more about that and book a free initial consultation at gradcoach.com.